Welcome to the Militia Gaming community. I'm Trigger and I'm back with another wrong build video, this time the 2019 Lamborghini Aventador SVJ Coupe. Let's go! Before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you. I don't think YouTubers do this enough, so I want to make sure to do it every single video. Thank you so much for being here. I know you could be watching anything else on YouTube, and as a token of my thanks, I have a Discord with almost 10,000 members in it with people talking all things racing. Go ahead and click the link in the description down below. And as always, if you have questions on this video, you can send me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, or Discord. I read every single message. All right, let's get into this Aventador SVJ. The first thing I like to do is give you the fastest engine. I know it's the most important part of these videos because it leads to the rest of the builds. So let's do that first. The fastest engine for this Aventador SVJ is the stock engine. It's the 903 horsepower 3.8 liter V8 hybrid. It is the engine that performed the best on both Arian and Sonic, and those times are 254.4 on Arian, which is actually pretty good. It's in the top 20 of my times of the cars that I've tested, and I'm up to 73 cars out of the, 130. So we're a little more than halfway through the cars, and this car is in the top 20. That actually says something good about the car. So as far as track racing goes, here are my thoughts. This car handles very, very well. It reacts to your steering inputs exactly the way you want it to, and it slides where it needs to, it grips where it needs to, and it accelerates decently from a stop, but it doesn't have the top speed that other cars do. And I think that's where it struggles because it ran a 239.8 on Sonic. Sonic is a much more open course that actually judges your top speed more than your cornering or your acceleration abilities. That's where Arian is good. But on Sonic, it just didn't run a super fast time. Something near 240 is a pretty common time for a lot of cars in this game with me behind the wheel. Now, obviously, more talented drivers are going to run this a little bit faster, but for me, that was the time. And this particular car is really just a little bit above average. Like I said, it's in the top 20, but it is barely in the top 20. All right, so that being said, let's go ahead and give you the full track build. It is the 903 horsepower 3.8 liter V8 hybrid engine, the Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate dual turbo, and the 5x3 pound NOS. We've got super track suspension, elite brakes, elite race tires, elite plus clutch, and the elite 7-speed gearbox with a super track differential. Now, I always run NOS refills and duration, and on this one, the steering sensitivity, I increased it just a little bit, and you can actually play with that to your preference, but I like it at 1, downforce -2, traction control off, drift style on gas. The downforce is important to get right because this car does have a sticky rear end if you don't loosen the downforce a little bit, but if you do it too much, then it starts to slide too much in the corners and you lose a lot of time. All right, let's move on to drag racing. Now, drag racing on this particular car got me a little confused because we usually put a drag tire on here for drag racing. That usually gives it the most traction, has it hook up right off the line. You can NOS and all of a sudden you're off. But in this case, the car actually does a wheelie. And for a car that is an all-wheel drive car that does a wheelie, you've got 2 wheels off the ground and you can't accelerate to its full potential. So you cannot NOS this car right off the line, which is actually preferred in Need for Speed Heat. That helps you go faster. So what you need to do is one of two things. Either you can't NOS off the line, you have to wait till about 3rd gear to NOS, or you have to swap the tires out for track tires. Now, I don't know which one is faster, so here on one side we've got drag tires where I NOS at about 3rd gear, and on the other side you've got track tires and I NOS off the line. Let's see which one's faster. All right, and there you have it. So here is the full drag build for the car. The 903 horsepower 3.8 liter V8 hybrid engine, the Ultimate Plus engine parts and Ultimate dual turbo, the 1x15 pound NOS, super track suspension, elite brakes, elite track tires, elite plus clutch, Elite 7-speed gearbox, and the Super Track differential. As always, we use NOS refills, NOS duration, and my steering sensitivity didn't change at 1, and my downforce is at -5. Traction control is off, drift style is on gas. Alright, let's move on to a drift build. Alright, being that this is an all-wheel drive car, we're going to start with the all-wheel drive drift build and make adjustments where we need to. That includes the Super Showcase suspension, the Elite drift tires, and the Sport drift differential. Those are the 3 keys to the build. So as I was testing this particular build, I noticed that it actually handles very, very well. This is something that's easily controllable. It's a little bit more sticky than I wanted it to be, but there's really not a way to switch that up and make it more slidey without making it over rotate on turns. So this is how we're going to leave the build. Drifting in this car is not the easiest, but it's also not the hardest, and it really doesn't score much, so I can't really recommend it for drifting in the game. That being said, if you still want to drift this around, here's your drift build. 903 horsepower, 3.8 liter V8 hybrid engine, and the Ultimate Plus engine parts with the Ultimate Dual Turbo, 5x3 pound NOS, Super Showcase suspension, Elite brakes, Elite drift tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite 7-speed gearbox, and the Sport drift differential. Of course, NOS refills and duration, and we got steering sensitivity +5, downforce -5. Those are important. You want to have your steering sensitivity all the way up and your downforce all the way down for pretty much all drift builds. Traction control off, and drift style on gas. And lastly, let's go ahead and take a look at off-road. As always, I test my off-road builds on HTV2 and Rumble, and I like those courses because HTV2 is shorter and tighter, which it actually will test your car's ability to regain grip after a corner, and Rumble is a little bit longer and straighter, and so that tests your car's top speed ability. So you can kind of tell how the car is going to react depending on how it performs on each of those courses. In the case of this Aventador SVJ, it actually ran a good time on HTV2. It was 152.8, and 152, if you remember, is actually kind of that line between what's fast and what's not, and so anything around 152 is fairly fast. If it goes under that, you know it's a good fast car off-road, at the very least for something that accelerates well out of corners. Now, on Rumble, it ran at 321.5, which is actually a terrible time, not a very good time at all. It's because this car struggles with top speed, and it actually struggled, if you remember, with top speed on the track as well. So it's got this issue where it just doesn't have enough in the top end, and so its combined time, which is a 5:14.3, that's both its HTV2 and its Rumble time combined, that is the time that I use to rank this car on my list. And I've tested about 68 cars, I believe, for off-road. This one ranks number 50 out of 68, so it's really not that great. I would say it works okay for shorter, tighter courses like HTV2, but for the majority of the off-road courses, I just don't think it's going to perform very well. So I can't really recommend it there either, but I do have a build for you, and that is the 903 horsepower 3.8 liter V8 hybrid engine again, Ultimate Plus engine parts, Ultimate Dual Turbo, and the 5x3 pound NOS. I've got Super Rally suspension, Elite brakes, Elite off-road tires, Elite Plus clutch, Elite 7-speed gearbox, Super Rally differential, NOS refills and duration, and of course steering sensitivity +5, downforce -5, traction control off, and drift style on gas. And with that, guys, I'm going to end the video. I really do appreciate everyone's support on this series. You guys have been absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for watching, and shout out to all the Militia subs. I'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.